Okay, we are recording.
Okay, so I'd like to call this meeting of May 19th, regular council meeting at 7 p.m. to order. Can we stand for a moment to silent reflection, please? Thank you very much.
Yes, that was tape recorder now.
Laura, are we doing the tape recorder backup? It's on? Okay.
Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move on to the mayor's address. On May 12, 2020, the Legislative Assembly of Ontario extended the emergency declaration and all orders under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act related to the COVID-19 pandemic until June 2nd, 2020. The number of Ontario's COVID-19 cases have been trending downward in recent days, and the province has indicated they will make an announcement on Thursday, May 14th, 2020, on their plan to begin phase 1 of the reopening strategy under provincial guidelines. Our municipal staff has prepared a plan for the reopening of our municipal office should the announcement on Thursday permit. Indications that gatherings of up to 10 people may be allowed, which would provide for all council members and staff to collectively attend meetings once again. A progress report is included in our Public Works report. The early spring and recent dry weather have made it possible to start our road construction projects early. Staff have completed the necessary preparations for opening the washrooms in our parks. Washrooms will soon be open during the day but locked at night. Cleaning will be completed in the morning before reopening. Township boat launches are open and accessible. On behalf of myself, council and staff, I would like to extend our congratulations to Darwin and Judith Hardwig on the celebration of their upcoming 50th wedding anniversary this year. Measures that we have been taking to limit the spread of COVID-19 are making it possible to gradually ease the restrictions on local businesses and residents as we move closer towards our busy tourist season. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep up the great work that our community has displayed so far. Here's my mayor's address. I have a resolution that council accepts the mayor's address as presented. And I'm going to move in a second, or moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Buckwalt. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. I guess because we're recording, I will still ask individual councillors to indicate their vote. I'm getting a nod of the head. So, Councillor Buckwell?
Yes.
Councillor Byrne? Yes. Councillor Reicher-Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
And yes for myself. Thank you. That brings us to number 7, which is reports. 7.1 is the Chief Building Official Code of Conduct. Oh, I am sorry. Yes. Item number 5 is the adoption of the minutes. So I have a resolution that council accepts the May 5th, 2020 regular meeting minutes. Are there any additions, corrections, or omissions? Seeing none, can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Byrne, seconded by Councillor Reicher-Schoenfeld. That the minutes be accepted as presented. Councillor Buckwell?
Yes.
Councillor Byrne?
Yes.
Councillor Reicher-Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Councillor Robinson?
Yes.
And yes for myself. That's carried. Thank you. That brings us to item 7.1, which is the Chief Building Official Code of Conduct. I have a resolution that council approves the code of conduct for the Chief Building Official as presented. Can we get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buckwald, seconded by Councillor Byrne. Comments or questions? Councillor Wright,
Okay, so just a couple questions. Is he like a contract employee or is he a contractor employee? Because the definition, one, we would say WSIB and one we would say WSIB. So,
he is an actual employee that we share the costs of, and maybe I'll get confirmation from staff, but I believe we just share the costs with BV.
right, but this kind of seems to indicate that EV is going to be in charge of disciplinary activity, like, and stuff. So I guess my problem is if we're sharing them, but they're doing discipline, then they seem to have more. If we're doing a split, they're like 70-30 or something. And so I'm just wondering is, like, when we, like, I know at the meat shop, sometimes we had contract employees and contractors. So as a contractor employee, then we didn't pay any of the WSIB, right? So I'm just saying, if we're sharing him, then to me, then we should, if he screws up in our township, then we should be disciplined.
And I believe that's what this covers. I believe that's the intent anyway. Yes,
So I can add that. So the reason for the policy is the employee, he is an employee of Lone Shore Valley and not the Township of Algona Wilberforce.
Right.
But we are required to have a code of conduct. So what this code of conduct does is it gives us the ability to tell them that they have to discipline.
So
We look at the last
who
paragraph.
places WSIB and stuff like that? They do?
WSIB is not a factor because he's not our employee.
Right, so he's not our employee.
He's not our employee, he's Lone Shore Valley's employee.
Because that makes a big difference if we're saying he's our employee.
So then we don't pay any benefits to him and we also go to Valley.
We pay for the service, which includes the compensation for the worker, but he's not our worker.
And we do pay mileage when he's in our township.
There is an agreement that has mileage and sundries and things like that we would pay partial bill to.
but I think it's important. I like the fact that we now have this code of conduct. Because as you were saying, if we had a problem with the service in our municipality, then we could ask Boncher Valley, or would we have to create a report for them that they would follow up on?
I would suggest we would ask them, and our power is that council appointed the chief building inspector, and council has the power to give 120 days notice and terminate the relationship with the chief building inspector. There was 2 contracts signed in March 2013. One is for the actual named person because the council has to name the person, and one is for the service. So possibly one could argue that if we terminate the building inspector of 120 days notice, they still have to provide us the service until we terminate that, which is a year's notice.
Right.
So like there could be a scenario where we decide for some strange and unknown reason, we no longer want that person. And then we just terminate their contract and everything would be fine. We just have to find another one, right? You know, because maybe he messed up so badly here, you know, we just don't want that, no matter what EV did in terms of some kind of penalty.
Councillor Robinson and then Councillor Buckle.
But you were saying that there are 2 contracts, one with the individual and one with BV. Now, if we cancel his contract, does that mean we still have to continue paying BV?
So your service is with BV for, you give 1 year notice, and then you've appointed the building inspector. If you give 120 days notice, and the fact that you have the second contract, they would have to provide, one would say they'd have to provide the building inspector. And it'd have to be a different person if you give your 120 days notice.
Councillor Buckle and then Councillor Richardson.
Yeah, it would be an interesting situation at that point. Again, if the 2 contracts are still in place, because I know council has to appoint the CBO or the chief building official under the processes, but we could use a CBO from another municipality and do it on a cost sharing basis. I'm pretty sure that's what was done. This may be something we might want to look at moving forward, once the committees are back in place, and we start doing that stuff, whether in the form of compliance or enhancements, to try and get the two contracts on the same page type thing, so we have the same timelines. That was just my comment on it.
That's right, you don't.
So right now, does the chief building inspector, does he get paid per visit, or does he get paid per visit and a salary? Like, do we divide his cost in half, so it's, I understand $50,000 for his employment, we pay 25, BB pays 25, and then every time he does an inspection, we pay money? How does his salary work?
Basically, we're paying for the service, they're paying the employee.
But I mean, do we pay something all the time for his service, or just when he actively does something?
We have to pay for the service all the time under the present.
But I mean, we pay Motion Valley, we actually don't pay him directly.
We pay directly to Wilshire Valley, and they pay him.
Okay. Seeing no other questions, then I will call the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Sonko,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Yes, for myself, that's carried, thank you.
And I guess you made a comment about the committee reviewing these two contracts after. Can you make a note or a reminder for that?
Yes.
The other comment I have, Mr. Mayor, is we should share a copy of this with Wilshire Valley as the employer, so that they know what our expectations are. I don't know if there's been any discussion between the two CAOs on that or not, but we should share it with them so that they're aware that it exists.
Yes, from.
So just for information, before bringing this forward to council, the policy was shared with ED and building inspector. And there were no comments from ED.
And just so the minutes noted that when we get back to committees, then we will bring this forward to council for review. Thank you. Item 7.2 is the reopening, the office reopening plan. I have a resolution that council accepts the plan on the reopening of the office to the public, and that the CAO will determine the date based on the provincial and federal lifting of restrictions and guidelines. And you're going to move in a seconder. Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Comments, questions, for discussion? Staff want to add anything to this?
So basically, we have to have some sort of plan to move forward, and at some point we have to reopen the office. So I've shown council that we have a three-part plan. One would be a soft opening, and that would give you to test the barriers that we have to put in place. And then we have the official opening, and then eventually when the province goes through all phases, we would have to do normal, that may require different protocols. But given the announcement from the province today and that the 5-person rule still stands, it doesn't really look like we will be opening, right away. I would suggest that we want to follow the county and the other municipalities that are local to us.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, I'll call for the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Chunko,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Yes, for myself, that's carried, thanks. Item 7.3 is the mascot contest. I have a resolution that council approves the township mascot initiative and directs staff to proceed with the initiative. And I get a mover to seconder. Moved by Councilor Bird, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Questions, comments?
Is the monies coming out of the recreation budget? Like, I mean, we probably haven't used some of it. I don't really want to see any monies going towards this, but if they're coming out of the recreation budget, then that's okay.
So I'll speak on that. The money would be coming directly out of the recreation budget. It's a new normal this summer that we can't do some things, but so that frees up some money to do other things. And certainly this engages the public, and we'd like to do some of those initiatives. So if the council is interested, it's a suggestion to move forward.
Councillor Shonko.
I think it's a good idea. I guess one of my concerns is the fact is that Ms. Birch has tried to run other activities last year, and we never got like a lot of, youth interaction. So, I mean, are we gonna get more this time, or is it gonna be 3 entries? I don't know. I guess, I mean, you can only try. Maybe she looks at putting something in the paper, or something on Facebook, something on the website, maybe something on Valley Heritage Radio, one of those things, and, talks about it and stuff like that. We definitely wouldn't have enough money to buy a mascot. I do know how much money they are. But I mean, it could link up to some of our other stuff, and if we're trying to engage youth, that's a positive thing. As trying to engage youth, I'm not sure where the North Algona bursary is going. Like, I know they're still planning on doing maybe a virtual graduation and stuff, so I know that like very confident people have sent in their bursary information, to the number of schools, so I don't know what's going on there. I mean, I guess anything is worth a shot. I don't think any other municipality actually has a mascot in the township. People aren't other municipalities.
Councillor Bucknell.
And like the mascot costs, if they are expensive, but even that, if you get a mascot that you like, you can use it in your online materials, your printed materials. It gives the community a little bit of personality on some of our marketing information. So I think it's worth a try.
Yeah, I guess, and if nothing happens, then nothing happens. It doesn't necessarily mean, I'm just saying from, and it's not the same thing, but when Empire High School was looking at rebanning them, they were called the Empire Redmen. I'm just telling you guys might not know that. But they wanted to get rid of that, feeling it was a negative term. And they only had, out of all that stuff, only 3 people submitted a possible new mascot. So I'm just saying, you can put it out there. And to me, if it doesn't run, I don't want to pick something just to say we did it. It has to be something kind of substantial that we can work with. You know what I mean? And that's my biggest concern. I just don't want it to be a dud and we say we did it, so now we got a dud.
Councillor Robinson and then Councillor Bucknell.
It is my concern that it's going to be poor participation. Should we, like, for example, when you're doing sales on tickets, if you don't have X amount of tickets, you're not going to put the event on. So maybe we consider putting an expectation of how many would be worthwhile participating in it.
I think it would be difficult because we just don't know what's out there, but I'm thinking you try, and then Abby and Mr. Sprunk come back with saying this is all we had. Like, I mean, I even look at our church, they were trying to design a new logo, and that didn't work out even from a logo special. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, but there might be a brilliant one that comes out there. Like, and so, and we don't necessarily, like, I know we purchased that mascot at Obiango, I think it was $4,500, right? Which is significant. But that being said, we could still have a caricature, which does appear in all our branding and our website. You have there's artistic people that, whatever the person decided to be, maybe it's Big Drum Opera, I don't know. We could, develop around that later on.
Councillor Bucknell.
And if we find that we don't have a lot of interest, or we don't have a design that we're satisfied with, if we don't accept the design as the winner, we can still give some kind of a small thank you gift.
Yeah. And,
thank you for, so that they feel rewarded that they've tried. That type of thing, especially if they put a lot of effort into it, but it just doesn't fit where we want to go.
Right.
It would give a chance to show some appreciation.
Sure.
Without necessarily going to the prize and adopting it if we're not satisfied with them.
That's right.
Councillor Burke, you have a comment?
I just think it might go over if we advertise it lots and get it out there, because I think the kids are at home more with their parents, and maybe they will put more effort into this, they have more time for this. Like, I know what you're saying, Janet, but.
And I think where we could go with it too, so I just go back to like when we advertised for rec committee members, right? I think we advertised several times and didn't get anybody, but the last time we got 2 Cracker Jack people, So I mean, it might be something that you do it and it doesn't work and you rework it and you do it again. It doesn't mean, I mean, if we don't try, we're not gonna get anything, right? But just because we try doesn't mean we have to accept what we get.
Mr. Sprung, you have a comment?
So just a couple of comments. In doing a mascot, if you create a mascot, it's with you for a long time. So you have to take that into consideration. So in the report, we stated that we would be consulting with the strategic plan consultant, just to make sure that something like this is going to be in line. And I would also suggest that the recreation committee should probably meet virtually now that we know that we're in sort of this new reality. The other thing is that we are actively looking for partnerships, and we've been in contact with the library as far as doing some things with them. And I think it's a new reality that you have to engage virtually, and the mascot brings a friendly face to help you do that. So I think there's a point where you would say, well, no, there's no interest, and still be able to get out of it. I think we work it that way. This is more of getting us because we don't have a recreational committee format. It's just to get something moving, and just to go back to a virtual recreation committee, get council's input.
Just one last thing, if we were to advertise it and stuff like that, I think it might be important that in whatever we advertise, it gives us our key leading pillars of what we think is important to North Algona Wilberforce, whatever we think they are, and then Abby would advertise that. If it's like community, if it's outdoor wilderness, if it's X, then that helps kind of focus the person who's trying to think of a mascot, what it could be. You know, just to let you know, our Friar's mascot is the Rapids. I don't know what the hell Rapid is, but they're called the Arm Friar or Rapids.
Be an interesting costume mover.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just, but I mean, so like, you know, we tease them about what is a Rapid. But I mean, the whole thing is.
You wascally wabbit, you.
Yeah, the whole thing is, it's like you want something that is like, yeah, that's right, and looks good, and you know, encompasses our values and our beliefs and stuff. Anyway, I mean, it's a work in progress, and I'm sure that whatever goes out, we'll look at those people. And the recreation is something, the recreation committee would discuss that. It's a bizarre one, for sure.
It is. I'd be interested to see what comes up. I think kids can be very creative sometimes too.
Okay, so seeing no further comments, then I will call for the vote. Councilor Buckle?
Yes.
Councilor Burke?
Yes.
Councilor Recchi Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
I agree as well. That's carried. Thank you. That brings us to 7.4, which is the amended fire agreement with Admiston Brumley Township. I have a resolution of council enacts bylaw 2020-51 being the first response fire agreement with Admiston Brumley Township. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Comments or questions? Councilor Recchi Schoenfeld?
Well, I'm just confused, so if you look at that, it says 2051, but then if we scroll down to the next thing on our agenda, which is the 2020 tax rate, it says bylaw, and I just call it now 2051. So if we go to the Daniel Burke Committee thing, it said recommendations that bylaw 2020-51 be enacted with the following tax information. I just caught this now, but if we scroll to the fire one, it also says moved bylaw 2020-51.
Mine says 2020-52.
Yeah, the bylaw, the fire bylaw itself says 2052.
Okay,
So it's just a report that needs to be.
so we just have to
amended.
change. I just caught that now because I was actually looking at the tax rate when James said 51. I'm like, 51, that's what this one is. Okay, so,
Does it require a change? I'm just asking.
It's something the staff can do.
okay,
Okay,
okay. So it was correct on the bylaw, but just incorrect on the, yeah, okay. Because I just caught that now when I read that. I never saw
So
it.
now we're 62.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry about that.
any other questions on the bylaw itself? Seeing none, I will call for the vote. Oh, sorry, Councilor
I
Robinson.
guess what was it before? Why is it being
People wording,
amended?
people word change.
Huh?
We're just wording in the
Yeah, it was just,
Was it just?
Well,
it said something about, our fire department may respond, and they wanted it to say that
It will.
they will respond.
And it's the third one, the council out of concern with words may at their discretion.
Yeah,
And they
Yeah,
wanted
I see
that,
it.
and they wanted that changed.
and I believe that was the only change, correct? Yes. Okay, so I'll call for the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Schunkel,
Yes,
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Myself, yes. That's carried, thank you. So we're at 7.5, which is a tax report, and council decision required for late payment penalties. So I have a resolution, 7.5, that council accepts the report on 2020 tax rates. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Burke, seconded by Councilor Robinson. Questions or comments?
You know the resolution for the late payment penalties, or that only one?
I don't have another resolution for late payment on penalties.
There's alternates on the second page. On the report.
So we just need to decide what dates we want.
Oh, there's two different bylaws later.
There's option 1 and option 2.
They were part of the report.
they do say alternates in terms of building a.
Yeah, but then when you go to the actual bylaws, there's option 1
That's right, option two.
and then option 2.
Do we need a resolution for that?
You have to decide which one?
And then you'll do the resolution?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's going to be in the bylaw that at the end of the meeting,
Okay.
so but you have to choose which one first.
Councilor Buckwell.
I guess I have a question for staff. Does having a date for each installment, is that problematic for staff, or is that easier for staff with the way the billing system goes?
That's the way we are, that's normal.
Okay, but I'm saying if we were to waive the interest,
Then we would need a date a lot more later.
so just for example, so for the installment 1, if it wasn't received by August 31st, so you would be looking for something like 30 days, 60 days, 90 days from that date,
Yeah, but there's
but a separate one for each billing date?
Yeah.
So just that we're on, right now, there was no penalty for late payment, and that expires at the end of August, correct? And that covers the first, just the March installment. So there's another one due end of May, and then the next one is the end of July, August.
So basically what option 1 is interim is that both of them would be penalty if received after August 31st. So for interim payment 1 and interim payment 2. That's what this is saying.
Could we leave them two for end of August, and then for the last two, maybe go the end of December? Anybody that's having another time, that has to work, or
Council's decision.
that's my thought on this.
So basically what we have So for the two interim billings, we wouldn't charge interest until September 1st.
Right.
And then for the two final, or for the final billing.
Right.
Actually, is there one final billing or two?
Two.
There's two, right?
2 payments.
Two payments.
August and just 31st and October.
And the due date for the first final payment is when?
March 31st.
Would have to be,
No, the first final.
is it August 31st?
Now it is.
Is that?
Now it is. For the first final, for the first
No,
payment.
but normally the invoice has gone out or will be going out for the final, and it's due by a certain date.
No, the second one's haven't done it.
I know that, but I'm just saying, when is that one normally due? Is it August 31st?
They go out about the 1st of July.
Sorry. Yeah, that's the question is, when does the second, tax notice go out for payment?
Why?
1st of July,
When is it due?
Towards the end of July.
towards the end of
But then
July.
it's due the end of August.
And it's due the end of August.
To the end of
Yes.
August. So end of August and end of October are our two due dates.
And do we know, just for clarification, how many people haven't been able to make their tax payment the first two installments?
So we only have the data we have some data for the first installment,
Okay,
and as of March 31st, we were $59,000 ahead of last year. That's the only information I have. So it's not really showing on the first installment, there's an issue.
But we kind of thought that too, right? Because
Yeah.
people may have still had money to pay that out, because
Exactly.
people go.
Actually, all those came in after that.
Yeah, like everyone, like layoffs started end of March, April.
Into April. So they still have a paycheck coming in, they're already planning to do it.
And with all the served and stuff like that, they're still okay.
The problem is CERB is gonna run out at the middle of June, 3/4 of the way through June, and we don't know, maybe they'll extend the CERB, right? But we don't know that.
Well, what the rule is that if they don't extend serve and they were laid off, if they qualify, they can go into unemployment.
But there'll be some people that don't have enough hours.
could I suggest then we, waive the interest until the end of August for your May payment, and then we still have time if we want to do something with the last two payments. We can bring it back, or staff can bring it back for another meeting.
I think I would like to see us getting some data
Yeah,
on what is happening on the second payment, because that will give us a trend for what is taking place.
Well, and by that time too, we're gonna know more about the federal and provincial monies coming and not going, or whatever's going on.
Yeah. So I think it's a little early to make a decision on the final payment.
so yes, Andrew, you had a comment?
I would suggest, given, if you want the information, it's probably better just to put this on the table, on the side and defer it over the next meeting. And then we will have some data.
Okay, is council okay to defer for one more meeting?
Does that have any kind of impact on getting the tax bills out?
At this point, not for this tax installment, it won't have an issue.
Well, I'm thinking about getting the final billing out, because if we're setting the rates,
You have to set the rates, but the next meeting is your last chance, basically, for us to be able to do it.
Okay.
Council Burke.
I think we should set the first one, because if people don't see something, everybody's gonna think they have to have the taxes paid by the end of May. And the first meeting's after June, that's just my thought.
Well, and yeah, I mean, that's what
And
I
if
said.
you don't see nothing, that, they're not doing that, and then everybody's figuring, could be caught, and they have it paid by the end of May.
No, I think we've announced that it's been delayed to August 31st for interest.
But that's only for the March one, not for the
Not
May.
very often, not very
Not for the second
often.
Yeah,
That's only 2 weeks away.
Oh, I thought it was both.
No, it's just for the first.
That's why I'm suggesting we could pass the resolution to make it, to defer the interest for the May one as well.
Yes.
And then staff has some time to bring back some more data for.
I feel better doing that, just to make it easier for the residents.
Yeah, because I assumed that it was for both, and it was,
So if we were, just like, if we were to take a look at the report from Daniel, where we have the alternative, if we just stroked out that section about the final billing installments, would that be the option that?
Can we
we'd be looking
scroll
at?
down to see that?
It'd be page 27 out of 60 on the agenda. Oh, that doesn't work for you because that's a separate document for you, right?
yes.
So it's Daniel's committee report. Yeah, so down just a little bit. So, okay. Yeah, so if we stroked off those last two bullets and not address the final billing at this time, but that would allow us to extend an interest-free period for the May billing. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah,
Does that make sense for staff or not?
We can do that, we'd have to make a resolution for that.
Okay,
It gives you guys something to work with.
If someone could come, we'll give them a resolution. So you have a blank resolution, but if you just take this document, stroke that out, and that's what you're saying, then you don't, then you don't have to print it all out, you just attach it to the resolution.
okay.
you basically, crossing out the final billing.
Well, I'll just read what's here, so that current penalties will take effect as follows. Interim billing installment, number 1, penalty if received after August 31st, 2020. Interim billing installment 2, penalty if received after August 31st, 2020. So they are now both penalty-free until August 31st.
And that gives us some time to get some data to help payments for billing.
This one's gonna be important, me.
And I will just attach that to the resolution on the tax rates so that that's clear for staff. Okay?
Now, the bylaw.
But that'll come, the bylaw comes later, right?
Yeah, yeah.
At the end?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this is just accepting the report.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is the report.
Okay,
This is, that council accepts the report on 2020 tax rates.
Yeah.
So I will call for the vote. Councillor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councillor Burnt,
Yes,
Councillor Reddy Schoenfeld,
Yes,
Councillor Robinson.
yes.
Yes, from myself, that's carried, thank you. So we're now at department updates. And item 8.1 is the municipal enforcement launch. I have a resolution that council accepts the bylaw enforcement report as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Buckwell, seconded by Councillor Burnt. Comments or questions? Mr. Sprint? Oh,
Just one comment for council, and it's, at the end of the report, we suggest that there should be a time slot every week that people can walk into the office, of course they can't now, but or call. And then we could have a bylaw enforcement officer available for 1.5 day a week. And we are suggesting that Thursday afternoons would be the best day to do that. So I could schedule staff to be here for that day. That way, if someone has a complaint, they can actually come to the office and physically meet with somebody, or they can make a phone call and talk to someone at the time.
Councilor Robinson and then Councilor Hutchinson.
I was just going to make a general comment saying that it is really a step forward to have this on the table.
Thank you, Councilor Hutchinson.
Did you say once a week or once a month or every second week?
We would start with once a week. And, you know, we don't get anybody in, maybe we'll go once a month, but we would start once a week, or we get 20 people, then we might come back and say, well, maybe we can do that 2 days a week.
Right, because I'm just thinking, cost, to keep costs down, right? If she's only seeing one person in a half a day, that's not a wise use of resources. If she's seeing 10, that's a wise use of resources, as long as it's not blocked in, that's what I mean. So, I mean, if there's only one person coming in, you'll go to once a month and a whole, like, as long as we're flexible like that, I don't want to tie us into saying, you know, we're gonna wait, you know, potentially waste a half a day every week with doing nothing.
Councilor Barker.
It also makes it easier too for the mile officer to plan their time, so they know that they can set aside that block and actually get stuff done in the office. Because speaking as somebody who worked from home for the township for quite a while, it's a lot easier when you can dedicate a time to be at the office and get stuff done. That's why I used the office and go when I did. It's good to have that space and that mindset and that availability. And sometimes it cuts down on the calls you get after hours and at home if they can't approach you here. I think she'll put in a fair bit of time doing that and doing the work while she's here. I don't think she's going to sit here twiddling her thumbs while she's waiting for someone to come in. So it will probably be beneficial either way. I don't think it's going to be a big difference in time because she's probably already doing stuff at flex times anyway.
I mean, it's not the time, it's too money too, right? She's
Yeah.
getting paid extra.
Well, yeah, time wages,
You
yeah.
know, that's an important thing, right? When we're trying to manage wages and I don't want other things happening.
Councilor Burke.
Is it gonna be another phone number for if somebody has problems on weekends to get in touch with her?
Is there a separate phone number for the bylaw enforcement officers?
No, we're going to have them call the office, otherwise we have to have a bylaw cell phones. I think at first we'll just start with bylaw calls coming into the office, and that's consistent.
There is a way to set it up for after hours calling, similar to what the CEMC had, a virtual phone number, and they just put it on call forward to whatever phone
That's kind
the
of.
bylaws
No,
are.
I just heard there's problems on the weekend, but sometimes this stuff happens on the weekend. Or like in the evenings, you know.
But I suppose this will be a work in progress,
No,
right?
I know it is.
That's where things happen, it's hard to do something for every possible scenario.
Because the virtual number worked great. They basically call and leave a voicemail,
Oh, yeah.
and then it emails you and texts you right to your phone, letting you know you got a call. You listen to your message, and then you can call them
Well, I
back
was
wherever
thinking
you
there's
are.
some problems on weekends.
It's inexpensive, that's easy to advertise.
It's voice of IP.
So just, I don't know if you picked that all up, Andrew, but is it possible to set up a virtual call-in number for bylaw enforcement? Which would then forward an email or a voice message to the bylaw enforcement person?
I think we could work on that.
Yeah, it's a cheap one, way to do it.
The Grasshopper one that CEMC had, you can add extensions to it that call forward through her phone. So you can actually use that pre-existing number. It's just a matter of adding an extension. And so there's no new cost to the system. It'll just be the usage cost.
Yeah.
And then it's one number for anything after hours. You can set up the fire chief that way. You can set up a roads line that way, and you just forward it to whoever's on call on that time.
I do that for mine.
Yeah, it was awesome because then it didn't matter if I had a cell phone, home phone, whatever. they had the number and it was, everything was there.
I just think a lot of these problems happen on regional, people having parties and.
Yeah.
Like retired teachers.
Yeah, it's me, I'm 30.
Retired teachers don't have to party on the weekends, they can party during the week now.
Every day, so.
So,
Okay. So I've just added to the resolution I have here that council accepts the bylaw enforcement report as presented, and staff is directed to investigate setting up a virtual phone number for bylaw enforcement. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
I'll call for the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
yes.
Councilor Short,
Yes,
Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld,
Yes,
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
yes, and myself, that's carried. Thank you. Yes, staff had a question? So if it's okay with council, staff has just informed me that we have to pass the tax rate bylaw tonight. And if we could just go back, then I can read this bylaw and council can make a decision. Pardon?
Mackie will speak.
Oh, Mackie will speak to it? Okay.
Okay.
Is council okay to bring you back for discussion with Mackie?
I wanted to. Council members, my suggestion, the bylaw before council later on is actually to pass the tax rate bylaws for the year, which is important as they have to be passed by the end of June for the entire county. My suggestion is you remove the penalty section altogether from the draft bylaw and deal with that at a future meeting. You've got till September to deal with that. I'm printing off new copies of the bylaw minus that section for your review, if that's satisfactory.
You have to take out the second installment to option one.
Mr. Mayor, I guess the simplest way to do that is a motion to reconsider.
Sure.
I'll make a motion to reconsider that matter. And Mr. McLaren, I remuted you.
So we're considering the report.
Yeah, because we added the comments on it about the interest relief, correct? So we would have to reconsider and accept the report without addressing interest rate relief.
Okay, so I'll read you what I put down. I have a resolution moved by Councilor Buckwell that council reconsider the amendment to the tax rate bylaw report. because they're amending by taking out that penalty section. And that's the new bylaw that Mackie's working on right now. Is that okay, or do you want different wording?
Just taking a penalty section from the report
I think the motion is for us to
to reconsider the original motion.
Yeah,
So we would need to carry that first, and then we can rediscuss the report. So just a motion to reconsider
the
the
tax rate
tax rate
bylaw
report.
report. Not even the bylaw, just the tax rate.
The tax rate, because the bylaw is 39.
Okay, so I have a resolution moved by Councillor Buckle, do I have a seconder? Councillor Burns. The council reconsider the tax rate report. Period. Okay. Councillor Buckle,
Yes.
Councillor Burns,
Yes.
Councillor Reggie Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
yes, and myself, that's carried. So now we can bring back the bylaw that Mackie's working on.
Well, so now, we need to reconsider the
Tax report.
the report. So I would suggest that I'll make a motion that we accept the report as presented, and that we will not address interest payments at this time.
Do we have to put a date on it?
So
Like
we're
September
deferring,
No, just that we're not doing it at this time.
we're deferring the discussion on interest payments
To our next meeting.
to our next meeting.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put a date on it.
Does that make sense to everyone?
Put a time on
Yes.
it.
And Andrew, would that address our procedural
Yeah, and we get some,
dilemma?
Just need to hear that again.
so we've passed a motion to reconsider the tax rate report. And was Mackie working on another,
Who's working on the bylaw?
you've got the new one?
You have it in bylaw
When it comes up, okay.
But the report itself,
So for now, the motion would be that we are accepting the treasurer's report on the, I'm just gonna go back to it.
tax report.
So the 2020 tax rates report without any discussion on the tax penalty.
Yes.
That would procedurally, that would clear us up.
Yes.
Okay,
So moved.
is that one was Laura drafting that, or do I have to write that one?
I don't have one in here.
I guess I'm doing it.
Sorry.
Okay, so read that back to me again, then, please.
Council accepts the treasurer's report on 2020 tax rates. And any waiver of penalty and interest will be discussed at our next meeting.
Yeah, that doesn't cover the August 31st for May payment, but shouldn't have to put something in for that?
No, that takes it right out. So we have to do
We're
that
gonna
at our
discuss
next meeting.
it next meeting.
So that gives residents have to figure that pay the tax by the end of May, if we don't put that in there. Next meeting is in June.
So and that, council accepts the treasurer's report on 2020 tax rates and
Discussions on waiving of penalties is deferred to the next regular meeting of council.
But is that still open up a can of worms, like Councilor Burnt talked about? 'Cause we
Yeah,
were
I
saying-
think,
What was our, I was gonna ask, what was the other resolution that we did pass? It said there,
And the resolution said, just talked about, that there would be no penalty if, or that the penalty would only apply after August 31st, 2020 for the first and second installments.
I think that should be named.
that's, I feel that should be the name of that.
Yes, Andrew.
So just to make everything work, so all you're doing tonight is passing the tax rate. As far as the due date, if we go back to March, when we had this issue before, because we had to make something work, and I didn't have the ability to put council together. So as CAO, I put the deferral in place. And then the next council meeting, we came back and council agreed with it. I would suggest that's the way to fix this right now, is that I will just defer those payments to cover that, and then you can deal with it at the next council meeting, and you pass your tax rate tonight.
That works.
So basically, Andrew would make an administrative decision
The same as we did
tomorrow, put out an announcement about the May payments,
And then.
and then we can confirm it at the June meeting.
It's kind of
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, that makes sense. Just that I just don't want to give the people on the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll be wondering whether or not.
Because they think I have to have paid by May 31st. Just keep it truthful, of residents.
So the resolution then still stands what you just read.
I'm just finishing it up now. Especially on the penalties.
So we're just passing the rates. As an administrative decision, and then support that. So this will be the file then for later. I will hang that to the end for when we get to the file.
Okay. I think that works. So I have a resolution that council accepts the treasurer's report on 2020 tax rates. Discussions on late payment penalties will be deferred until our June meeting. Does that work?
It's sort of against the other resolution that we passed, the first one that we passed.
Yeah, but we've erased that.
Yeah. 'cause
We've
got it back on
reconsidered it.
reconsideration. So I need a mover and a seconder, moved by Council Buckwell, seconded by Council Burn. Would you like me to reread it?
Sure.
Council accepts the treasurer's report on the 2020 tax rates. And discussions on late payment penalties will be deferred until our June meeting. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Burn,
Yes,
Councilor Ivey-Sunkel,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson.
Yes.
Yes, and myself is carried, thank you. So now we're at 8.2, which is the Public Works and Capital update. I have a resolution that council accepts the capital works update as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Any questions or comments? Councilor Ivey-Sunkel.
It probably doesn't have to deal with this, but just something Mr. Sprunk, have we looked at like selling any of our surplus equipment?
We are looking into selling surplus equipment. We actually are looking at our surplus tandem versus the present one of the tandems we own. We may be better off to sell the other one, so it might be good that we haven't done that. But yes, we're looking into selling surplus.
Thank you.
Can you just give us a quick update on Gristmill? I know they were putting gravel on this week.
So general, usually we're last on the list. This year we're first on the list, which is really good. It's going to progress very fast. Gravel has been going down steady. I would expect that next week, the hard surface crew may be in place in, at Gristmill. And they will be doing a couple of the other jobs and then working their way to Island View. So I would anticipate that by the end of June, you will have most, if not all, of our road work done, with the exception of that.
That's right.
Anything with Royal Pines or anything? What's their status or what's their plan?
So council passed a resolution to put Royal Pines on the list for next year and go off.
But I thought we were gonna do some things on Royal Pines.
We're going to try to do operationally some work.
Right.
But it's a matter of time right now to be able to put some time to it. We're trying to cut costs by doing some of the follow work ourselves on the other projects, so you must wait for voting our crews for that.
Thank you.
Seeing no other comments, I'll call for the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
yes, myself, that's carried, thank you. Item 8.3 is the fire department report. I have a resolution that council accepts the fire March through mid-May 2020 report and addendum as presented. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Questions or comments?
There was an addendum added today, so I posted it up here again. Just an update from things that have happened.
Okay. Yes, Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld.
Did we ever find out anything about those containers that were found on Marsh Road, or were they disposed of, or any information about that?
So just a little bit of information that's not included in the report. We had extremely good response on our Facebook page when we posted that. But really, we didn't get any information that would lead us to who, where, what, and why, how it came about. Unfortunately, Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery Center cannot take products that we do not know what it is. So we have to pay to dispose of the product, and it's like it's going to cost us $1,200. So we're still looking for information, and we've also asked the company that's going to dispose of the material to try to determine what it is for us, because that may give us a lead on where to go.
Thank you.
Mr.
Councilor Burke.
Here's another question. Andrew, I was approached by a resident on the weekend. He was on the fire department and he went off and he'd like to get back on. Would he talk to Kevin Chan? He's from Golden Lake.
We had applications here, but I'm sure he could contact the fire chief and the fire chief the director.
Because he was on for a number of years and said he'd like to join the team.
I'm sure the fire chief would accommodate talking to them.
Okay. Thank you.
I believe one of the deputies is aware of that. And I think they'll be talking with the chief about it.
Maybe we're talking to Kevin, so he's talking to me.
Seeing no other comments, I will then call for the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
myself, yes, that's carried, thank you. So item 9.1 is correspondence. I have a resolution that council accepts correspondence items 9.1.1 to 9.1.3 as information. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Burns, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. All in favor? Councilor Buckwell?
Yes.
Sorry, where's the hand? Councilor Burke?
Yes.
Councilor Radke-Filpo?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Self, yes. It's carried, thank you. So that brings us to item 9.2.1. I have a resolution. The council instructs staff to prepare a report on the safety of cell towers and upgrades to 5G, citing any dangers to the public, and further that staff send letters to the persons that have indicated concern regarding 5G through letters to individual councilors, informing them of council's direction. Can I get a mover and a second? Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Buckwell. Comments? Questions? Councilor Buckwell.
How much of a time commitment are we going to be asking staff to put into this? Because there is a pile of information on both sides of the issue to address. And with great respect to our staff, I don't think there's cancer experts or radiation experts on our staff. So my concern would be that we've been drafting a report on this for us to make decisions on.
My thought was, because I know the concern the public is bringing forward is the township supporting 5G or not? I know we have sent letters of support to 2 different internet providers that have brought forward or have made application to bring better cell phone service to us through fiber optics. And that's both NRTCO and Cogeco. So I think by sending a letter saying that those are the upgrades we're considering as council, we're staying away from 5G without getting into all the details, pros and cons, et cetera. And just saying that this is the direction we certainly are supporting moving towards. Maybe staff has more to add.
Certainly, staff is, you don't really want to do any more work than you have to, and certainly, Councilor Buckwell's opinion, if we're not experts, true. We just put a suggestion in for council. Is 5G ever going to come here? Probably not for a very long time. So I don't know if we haven't put much in, time into it.
I heard bottom of the total.
And that's one of my concerns, because when people hear 5G, they're lumping everything in together. But there's 5G technology that's basically a more efficient communication language, for lack of a better word, that can run on existing towers and existing frequencies. And then there's 5G as it relates to the millimeter wave type communications, which is the one that most people are concerned about, with the little towers every couple hundred meters. Yeah, so I don't envision that happening in this part of the world, simply just because of cost to try and set it up. Like, we have a hard time getting to run fiber optic in the area.
Yeah.
But again, 5G is not all 5G. It's not just one size fits all. It's just like two-way radios. Like, they're not all the same, right? They work on different frequencies and different technologies. So my concern with getting too deep into the whole 5G argument is, if you don't know what they're going to be using, it's hard to make an educated opinion. And if they're going to do it with existing power and existing frequencies,
It's impossible to do it the same thing.
yeah. So again, I understand the people's concerns, but I think a lot of it too is misinformation or partial information. And again, people that are concerned are going to worry about the worst thing that they hear, as when there may be more of a balance. That's my concern with getting too deeply into it as far as the municipality goes.
Councilor Everson.
I disagree with Mayor Rose, like we had endorsed two public people that are doing fiber optic. Nobody from 5G has ever approached us.
No.
You know, therefore you could say at this time, you know, we're endorsing fiber optics as opposed to 5G. We've never had any letters from 5G saying, yeah, let's go for it, all these people. So I mean, we're appeasing what they're asking for. We're not doing anything illegal. We could change our mind down the road. We're currently endorsing fiber optics, and I think that would keep them quiet. That's easy for staff to do. We're not making any judgments, which is good, which is bad. So, or choosing which over which. So I think that would be the easiest way to do it. It accuses them. And basically, I mean, I don't know.
Staff is okay with that. I don't have to write any more direction
So
into.
staff will write a letter to the people that sent letters to us, stating that at this time, council has no discussion or not interested in 5G, and presently we're pursuing better internet service through fiber optics.
We're endorsing fiber optic technology.
Okay. So I'll call for the vote. Councilor Buckle,
Yes.
Councilor Byrne,
Yes.
Councilor Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
myself, yes, that's carried. Thank you. Yes.
This is not a resolution saying that we're going to do it for it. So
Oh, we did, yes, that you were gonna prepare a report. Pardon me?
How about
I have direction.
prepare a letter? The report?
We passed this resolution. Do we have to bring it back for reconsideration?
You have to rescind the resolution.
Making me work, you know?
I would suggest that you don't need another resolution to start out.
Direction just then. No, this is not to be raised.
No.
The beer might have to pay.
David?
Sometimes in the morning, it's coffee. And if you're really heartbeat, you can put it.
Well, it shouldn't take too long for the meditation.
I think I've been 30, it's not doing anything yet.
Wow, I mean, like,
Yeah.
not to be tested.
It really slow this afternoon. It wasn't slow like this morning.
Well, probably because you're sleeping and put this elevator. When you walk away, what tends to do when you always.
I have a resolution that, give me a second. Council rescinds the resolution 9.2.1 on cell towers and upgrades to 5G, and further that direction was given to staff to send letters indicating council's support of fiber optics to improve internet service. Does that sound okay? Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Byrne. Councilor Buckwell?
Yes.
Councilor Byrne?
Yes.
Councilor Reddy-Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Councilor Robinson?
Yes.
Myself, yes, that's carried. Now we have to- That brings us to item number 9.2.2. I have a resolution that council acknowledges the letter sent to council by Lee Sutsky and Alexander Bednash, and that it is council's opinion that unopened road allowance are not permitted to be blocked, prohibiting access to persons wishing to traverse them, and further that improvements are not to be made to unopened road allowance without permission from the township. And council suggests that staff should facilitate a meeting with both parties mentioned in the letter to allow a settlement that respects the township's position as stated above. Can we get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Robinson, seconded by Councilor Byrne. Comments, questions?
Should directing staff, not suggesting to staff.
What do you want to change? Council direct staff to facilitate a meeting between both parties.
If that's what we want staff to do, it should be directing, not suggesting. Or at least to try and set up a meeting that the parties may not want to.
Any other comments or Councilor Reddy-Schoenfeld?
Just because I'm familiar with this, and I think we always have to keep in mind there's two sides to every story, and a whole bunch in between. So there is a few inaccuracies, but at any rate, if we go to the end one where it's the reference plan, so one that's from the county. So there's a part of the problem here is that you can see the road allowance, and we can see it's marked 66 feet. And then we see a kind of a line that looks like tiny X's through it. So that's actually the line fence. So if we go back to that first yellow drawing, and we see the white letter, it says right road coming through. In actual fact, that road is only 33 feet. That's not the total road allowance. I would say we're at the top side. That would be where the fence, the line fence would be there. On that.
The green?
No, I'm just gonna go through. So remember I told you to reference that county plan? So in actual fact, when you went to the county plan, remember I said there was a line, there was 20 X's in it?
Mm-hmm.
So this would be actually the fence. So this is 33 feet here, and there would be another 33 feet here. Okay, and I talked to Steve today, and this gate here is not on the road allowance, it's actually here. This was a fence here, and Steve did take it down. A long, long time ago, and I know this just because my husband had cows here, the cows went everywhere, and they went up to the line fence here. Then what happened is when Murray Dole owned this property up here, they decided to put a fence in, so it would be easier for when you access his bush lot up here. basically because it was an old farmhouse and farm, when they wanted to separate it, this area would have been landlocked. So what happened was they decided then to put a right of way in. And everybody's in agreement with the right of way. Steve is concerned because it's, and he'll write this, maybe I'm overstating it, but he's concerned because people have put garbage on there. It is a four-wheeling trail. He wants to make sure he's allowed to put a gate here. He doesn't want people, because even though it's a right of way, that gives Mr. Vasetsky and Vandenash the right to travel, it doesn't mean that they own the right of way. So he's concerned about trying to keep traffic down here. Whether he puts cows in here again or not, I have no idea. But just, I mean, there's two sides to every story. And I know Mr. Pullman called me up and said he became aware of this. He's writing a letter to council, and he's also seeking legal representation, right? But just to let you know, and I guess my one concern was, and the only thing is when Darcy Pankey wanted to open up that concession road to put a driveway in closer to his building, right? He came to council, he asked council if he was allowed to do that, and we talked about that, right? So I know for sure he had to build that road bigger because on his bush block, what he did was he took a bunch of the bush out and he needed a better access road. So I know for sure he did work on it. I also know our township did work on that a number of years ago. They brought fill out and they put it in to make it better. I'm just giving you the background, right? Because there's two sides to every story. And I just want you to know, like when I look at that picture, you're right. And here's the ironic thing. So you're not allowed to put a gate on. There's other property right here. So remember I said, this might look like it's 66 feet, but it's actually only 33 feet. When you come up here, this is my cousin's property. There's actually a gate here, because you go onto his property there. That's a lock gate. In theory, we as the public, we can walk on a concession road. They can't allow us not to, right? Conley said to him, this is an invisible gate. Anybody can go through it, but it could stop a biker from going through. If he wanted to walk around, you could. And I thought my cousin is really committing a major crime here because he's got a lock gate.
Well, it's on his property, yeah.
But it's not, it's on the concession. Remember I said this is only 33? There's actually another 33 here.
Well, no, that diagram on the plan would be the 66-foot road lines.
Yes.
Yeah, go to that plan, the Renfrew County plan, please.
So 66.
So right here, this is 66. See this line right here? It's clear on a piece of paper. That's actually the line fence right here. So right now, this part is the road that we're talking about, right?
Well, I understand what you're saying about the road itself, but the road allowance itself is still 66 feet,
That's
regardless of where the fence is.
That's right, but in actual fact, the fence is in the middle of the road.
Yes. That's the place.
And because of that, right, my cousin actually has a lock gate. If you wanted to, you should be able to walk on this 33 or that 33, right? It's a road allowance at 66 feet.
And just to follow up on that, I think the resolution speaks fairly clearly to that. It says that unopened road allowance are not permitted to be blocked, prohibiting access to persons wishing to traverse them.
That's right.
And that improvements are not to be made to unopened road allowance without permission from the township. So I think it addresses, and then the township, we're directing staff to try and facilitate a lead.
That's right. But I think sometimes, you know, it's to get the history of things and to get a visual, and like there's two sides to every story and a whole bunch in between. In actual fact, probably should have put the gate up at the end of the road. In actual fact, the subsidy shouldn't have done work to the concession road without consent of the township, right? You know, and sometimes people, they don't know or they don't, but it just made me, bells went off when I remember Darcy coming in, wanting to open that concession road to make it easier to get a driveway access his property, which made perfect sense. But he asked us permission. We could have said no. Right? And the same thing here. I get the fact you want to bring the road up. I get the fact you needed it for getting the big log trucks in. That makes perfect sense. But I mean, that's great. So I mean, I think council's doing the right thing. They're addressing it. Hopefully people get together and then hopefully they get some kind of resolution. But like I said, there is an inaccuracies in some of this stuff. And like, you know,
And he even admitted, he thought the right of way, he thought he owned the right of way. But you just have the right to go on it. And anyway, you know, people between neighbors doesn't always go on.
Any other comments, questions?
Giving directions now.
Yeah.
But I guess the direction would be wait until Mr. Foley and his lawyer send some correspondence before trying to intervene. Like doing it too soon might be premature too, you know.
Is staff okay with the resolution to read
I'm
the?
okay with the resolution. I also.
Okay,
That's good.
so I'll call for the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Byrne,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
and that's from myself, that's carried. Thank you. Nine point two point three. I have a resolution. The council supports the Township of Orchard Valley Resolution 20-060 that the province of Ontario amend the effective date of the decision with respect to the official plan amendment number 25/08/25 to the Renfrew County official plan to September 28, 2020 to assist in the economic recovery of Renfrew County and Ontario. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Buckwell, seconded by Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld. Thank you. Comments? Good. Seeing none, call for the vote. Councilor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councilor Byrne,
Yes.
Councilor Reggie Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Councilor Robinson,
Yes.
that's for myself, that's carried. Thank you. That brings us to number 10, which is bylaws. I have a resolution that council enacts the following bylaws. Bylaw 2020-51 to set 2020 tax rates, and bylaw 2020-52, the fire agreement with Patterson Brown Township. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Byrne, seconded by Councilor Reggie. Is our tax rate bylaw good to go now?
I put a copies on this, but sure.
There should be a copy for everyone.
So bylaw number 2020-51, a bylaw to provide for the approval of the 2020 budget, adoption of the 2020 tax rates, and establishing penalty and interest on overdue taxes. Whereas section 290 and 312 of the Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 C25 provides that the council of local municipalities shall adopt estimates for the year and whereas section 307 and 308 of the said act requires tax rates to be established in the same proportion to tax ratios. And whereas the 2020 budget for municipal purposes is hereby adopted at a total expenditure of $6,064,500. Now therefore the township, now therefore the council of North Algona Wilberforce Township hereby enacts that every owner in North Algona Township shall be taxed according to the following tax rates, and and such tax shall become due and payable in 2 installments. First installment due August 31st, 2020. Second installment due October 30th, 2020. And the rates are listed on the bylaw. And as indicated, there's no mention on this one of penalties. And this is read a first and second time this 19th day of May 2020. Councillor Burns.
The only thing that I have a little bit with the wording is that the first and second installment, shouldn't that be the third and fourth installment? Because we already have. Just a little. Because it is on third.
Yeah, it should be the third one.
Just, Mr. Mayor, one clarification. In the very first paragraph, a bylaw to provide for the approval of the 2020 budget, adoption of the 2020 tax rates, that paragraph should end there. And you should delete and establishing penalty and interest on the taxes before we
Because we're not dealing
with it this time.
But they did not say to over the taxes.
I know, but it's still in the header of the bylaw. We need to remove that before we pass the bylaw.
Oh, I read on the title.
Yeah.
Should end the tax rate.
It should end right at tax rates.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll stroke out the establishing penalty and interest on overdue taxes.
And
Yes, Councillor Barr.
And if I may, as far as this is actually the first installment of the actual tax rate for this year. The other 2 days were interim billings. This is for our actual taxes due on our final tax rate. So first installment and second installment would be correct.
Can we say that one again?
The initial bills that we sent out were for the interim billing, which is 50% of last year's taxes. This is actually setting the tax rates for this year, which only come into effect now. So the first payment of the final taxes is due in August.
Okay.
The second payment will be due in October. So the wording will be correct.
Thank you for clarifying that. Any other comments or questions? Then this bylaw be read a third time and passed this 19th day of May 2020. Councillor Buckwell,
Yes.
Councillor Burns,
Yes.
Councillor Rector-Schoenfeld,
Yes.
Councillor Robinson,
Yes.
myself, yes, that's carried. Thank you. Are there any matters of urgency? Notices of motion? No reports from committees. Upcoming meetings and unfinished business. We will be send out any information from staff. So that brings us to our closed session. I need a mover and a seconder that council move into closed session to deal with one personal matter about identifiable individual, including municipal and local employees, one proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and one labor relations or employee negotiations. Don't have the, oh yes, right here. Moved by Councillor Bird, seconded by Councillor Rector-Schoenfeld. Thank you, we're now closed. Yeah, yes. Take a 5-minute break and